this morning, and we get the fabulous book of Ruth started off. We get two chapters of it, and I don't know if it's interesting, but
Yes, it is. Sorry.
this is interesting. No, once back in the time of the Judges, and so we've been reading from the book of Judges. We've been going through the historical part of the Bible, through Exodus and Numbers, and now through the Judges. And I was talking about this. The Judges is that in between time from when they come into the promised land and before we get King Saul. And so the Judges are raised up. And so this book begins once back in the time of the Judges. We do not know when this is written, but it's the story of Ruth, and the name of the book is Ruth. And so that should be, tell us what this is about. Okay, so just to go through this, what we got today. Once back in the time of the Judges, there was a famine in the land. So a man from Bethlehem of Judah left home with his wife and two sons to reside on the plateau of Moab. The man was Elimelech, his wife Naomi, his sons Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem of Judah. Sometime after their arrival on the plateau of Moab, Amalek, the husband of Naomi, died. She was left with her two sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah. You maybe know this as a famous TV personality. Her given name was Orpah. And somewhere down the line it turned into Oprah. Orpah. So this biblical character, Orpah. The other, Ruth. And so we've got these two. When they lived there about 10 years, then the husbands died. And the women were left with neither. Well, it says Naomi was left with neither her two boys nor her husband. All she had was these daughter-in-laws. Then prepared to go back from the Moab to her promised land of Bethlehem, that the Lord had seen people's needs and given them food. She and her two daughters-in-law left the place where they had been living on the road back to the land of Judah. It's a great story. Naomi says to her daughter-in-law, "Go home. May the Lord show you the same kindness as you showed to the deceased and to me. May the Lord show you the same kindness as you shown to the deceased and to me. May the Lord guide each of you to find a husband and a home in which you will be at rest." She kissed them goodbye, but they wept aloud. "No, we will not go back we will go back to you, to your people." Naomi said, "Go back, my daughters, go back to your own people. Why come with me? Have I other sons who could become your husbands? Go, my daughters, for I am too old to marry again. Even if I had such hope, or if tonight I had a husband and were to bear sons, would you wait for them and deprive yourselves of a husband till these sons are grown up? No, my daughter, my lot is too bitter for you, because the Lord has extended his hand against me." Again they wept aloud. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. "See now," she said, "your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and her God. Go back after your sister-in-law." But Ruth said, "Do not press me to go back and abandon you." And then, of course, this is a beautiful song and a beautiful line. "Wherever you go, I will go." I think the song says, "Wherever you live." Is that what it says? "Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you something." Oh, well, it says lodge here. That's not super poetic in the English. "Wherever you lodge, I will lodge." Okay. "Your people shall be my people, and your God will be my God too." The Old Testament actually does this a lot, that it puts very beautiful actions into the mouths and remembers the story of non-Jewish people. And so, once again, this beautiful line of a non-Jewish person and the Old Testament over and over again will remember these stories. The story of Jonah, where the non-Jewish people act more uprightly than the Jewish person Jonah. And so using others. And Jesus does this in the New Testament with the Good Samaritan. And so, not fully a Jewish person, but much good comes out of this person. So the Bible uses this motif a lot to challenge the people who are supposed to have the faith. Well, look, people who don't even have the faith are better than you are. And so that's one of those comparison things. And then also to challenge us to our relationship with people who aren't of our faith. Naomi then ceased to urge her, for she saw she was determined to go with her. So they went back to Ruth. They went back to Bethlehem. And the whole town was excited. Can this be Naomi? But she said to them, call me not Naomi, that is sweet, but call me Mara, that is bitter. For the Almighty has dwelt quite bitterly with me. This is a quote from our Stations of the Cross that we get every year. And actually, this was not part of our reading today, so we don't actually ever get this read at our Sunday Mass, but quite beautiful. Do not call me not Naomi. And I think we use this word in our stations where they said, do not call me Naomi, which is beautiful, but call me Mara, that is bitter. For the Lord has dealt quite bitterly with me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why should you call me beautiful, since the Lord has brought me to trial, and the Almighty has given a difficult sentence on me? Thus it was that Naomi came back with her Moabite daughter-in-law Ruth. They accompanied her back to the plateau of Moab. They arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. That's the end of chapter 1. And I'm going to kick something else here. And then for tomorrow, we get the second chapter. And so Boaz and Ruth end up in this beautiful relationship. Anyway, not to spoil the story for tomorrow, but I do want to mention that this woman, Ruth, the book is named after, the Moabite woman, ends up in the genealogy of Jesus. So, let's check this out. Salmon, the father of Boaz, and we just heard the prequel that Boaz will come into the story tomorrow. Salmon, the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Boaz became the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Obed became the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of David. And so we get this great continuation, this little Jesse the father of David. So this Ruth is his grandmother, is David's grandmother. And so we get this, we don't get too many women in the genealogy of Jesus, but we get Ruth, this Moabite woman that the Lord chose in her great love for Naomi, in her great care for Naomi, to also to favor. And so Naomi had a powerful relative named Boaz. Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, in case you forgot she was a Moabite, I would like to go and glean grain in the field of anyone who will allow me. We see this in the New Testament that people who have fields are not to glean grain from them twice. They are to leave the grain a little bit, what they can't get the first time. They're to allow that out there for the poor than to go out and pick that grain. And so Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, I would like to go out and glean grain in the field of anyone who will allow me. Go ahead, my daughter. So she went. The field she entered to glean after the harvesters happened to be the section belonging to Boaz. Soon along came Boaz from Bethlehem and said to the harvesters, the Lord be with you. And they replied, may the Lord bless you. This kind of sounds like our beginning of Mass, right? The Lord be with you, and may the Lord bless you, or the Lord be with your spirit, or the Lord be with you. This idea that the Lord is in both. Boaz asked the young man overseeing the harvesters, whose young woman is this? The young man overseeing the harvester answered, she is the young Moabite who came back with Naomi from the plateau of Moab. She said, I would like to gather the gleanings into sheaves after the harvesters. Ever since she came this morning, she has remained here until now with scarcely a moment's rest. Boaz then spoke to Ruth. Listen, my daughter. Do not go to glean in anyone else's field. You are not to leave here. Stay here with my young women. Watch to see which field is to be harvested and follow them. Have I not commanded the young men to do you no harm? When you are thirsty, go and drink from the vessels the young people have filled. Casting herself prostrate upon the ground, she said to him, why should I, a foreigner, be favored with your attention? Boaz answered her, I have had a complete account of what you have done for your mother-in-law after your husband's death. You have left your father and your mother, the land of your birth, and have come to a people whom previously you did not know. May the Lord reward what you have done. May you receive a full reward from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come for refuge. She said, may I prove worthy of your favor, my Lord. You have comforted me. You have spoken to the heart of your servant, and I am not even one of your servants. At mealtime, Boaz said to her, come here and have something to eat. Dip your bread in the sauce. Then as she sat near the harvesters, he handed her some roasted grain, and she ate her fill and had some left over. As she rose to glean, Boaz instructed his young people, let her glean among the sheaves with themselves without scolding her, and even drop some handfuls and leave them for her to glean. Do not rebuke her. She gleaned in the field until evening, and when she beat out what she had gleaned, it came to about an ephah of barley. We've talked about this. Otherwise, ephah or barley is the food of the poor. She took into town and showed to her mother-in-law. Next, she brought out what she had left over from the meal and gave it to her. So her mother-in-law said to her, where did you glean today? Where did you go to work? May the one who took notice of you be blessed. Then she told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked, the man at whose place I work today is named Boaz. May he be blessed by the Lord, who never fails to show kindness to the living and to the dead. Naomi explained to her daughter-in-law, she continued, the man is a near relative of ours, one of our redeemers. He even told me, added Ruth the Moabite, stay with my young people until they complete my entire harvest. You would do well, my daughter, Naomi answered, to work with his young women in someone else's field. You might be insulted. So she stayed gleaning with Boaz's young woman until the end of the barley and the wheat harvest. And so, the exciting first 2 chapters. This is 4 chapters, so you can go into your Bible and get the exciting conclusion. I know we're kind of cliffhanging you here, or what could you do? Let me check and see. Yes, the very shortened version of the ending comes in tomorrow's reading. So you can just read tomorrow's reading, but that lacks the details. It said in the introduction that this is really one of the finest short stories anywhere, not just in the Bible, but in all of literature, that even today, as you can see from the first 2 chapters, you can read this beautifully and not wonder what this was written 2,800 years ago. And you can just follow it as a beautiful sign of love and a beautiful sign of attachment for people not necessarily your own. And then the reward of the Lord that comes into the kindness for another. Kindness today. So thanks for joining us today for this morning meditation. We do this Monday through Friday. We do this Tuesday through Friday at 9 o'clock, and you can catch it later in the day. And actually, we did the Thanksgiving one yesterday, the day before, and someone said, I listened to that right before I went to bed, and it was perfect to do a meditation on Thanksgiving right before I went to bed. She said it was a perfect way for me to go to bed. So it's great to hear those once in a while. We have our peer ministers today for this coming year. There they are. So we've got Maureen and Callie and Bethany and Jack. They are the peer ministers that will be at Newman Center this year. So they are joining us today with a little bit of training and to begin their day with morning meditation. And they are super jacked up to just be put on camera, let me tell you. So thank you all for joining us this day. God bless. Have a great day.